name is Leon, and today I'm going to talk about database server and SQL. This is going to be, I'm not going to do something very technical this time. This is more an informative kind of a session. So at the end of this you should know what is a database, what is an SQL, but I'm not going to show how do you actually set up the database and how do you actually run the database server. Okay, so great stuff. Okay, basically what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to show you a side of the web that probably a lot of you are hidden from. Okay, how many of you here use Joomla or WordPress or? I do. 3 people, and I know all 3. Okay, basically what happens is, okay, there are actually 2 kinds of servers when we look at the website. Most of the time we think that there's only 1 server, but actually there's 2. There's what we call a web server and what we have a database server. Okay, and they communicate with your browser. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my own website here. Okay, you see here there's a page on Jigsaw Puzzle and there's a page on the tote bag. Now my question to you all, is this the same page? Who say yes? Who say no? Who say I do not know? It has to be one of the 3, right? Okay, the difference, actually the answer is yes and no. Because if you look at it from the web server point of view, this is the same page. If you look at it from the database point of view, this is a different page. Okay, if you look at the top here, it is, you see, okay, if you look at the URL, right, it's index.php. If you go to the other one, it's also called index.php. What is actually happening is that the same page is getting loaded in, but different information is coming from the database server. Okay, so basically what happens when you actually request a page, right, is that first it goes to the web server. Okay, then I want the page on, for example, the tote bag. Okay, then the web server will go to the database server and say, give me the information about the tote bag. And then it comes back to the web server, and the web server makes everything into a nice page and it gives it back to the browser, which is you, and you get the information. So today I'd like to tell you what actually goes on this site. Because usually, most of the time, a lot of people think that these 2 things exist as one, but they're actually 2 different things. Okay, so now, these are examples of database servers. I think you will have seen some of their names. Oracle, I'm sure most of you have heard of Oracle. MySQL, which is a free database. Microsoft SQL. And Microsoft Access is also a database server, which I'm sure you see Microsoft Access when you install Microsoft Office, but maybe a lot of you do not know what it actually does. Okay, so what is inside a database server? Is it very complicated? Well, believe it or not, actually it's very simple. Okay, how the data is stored inside a database server is no different from how you will see an Excel file. Who here never used Excel before? All use Excel, right? Okay, so basically the database server is this big red box. Okay, and inside the database server you will have maybe a few databases. So database 1 may be website number 1, database 2 may be website number 2, database 3 may belong to website number 3. Okay, and inside each database you will have a table. And each table, the table is what actually contains the data, and the table looks exactly like an Excel spreadsheet. It's no difference. Okay, let me just show you right now. Okay, so now what I have on this computer, I'm actually running a database server, and okay, you can see here my SQL server which is running. and Apache server, which is the web server. Okay, and so now I'm going to connect to the first layer, which is the database server. Okay, so I just click connect. And once I go into the database server, the next layer is I have to choose which database I want. Okay, and you can see I have a few different databases here. I have Creative Crew, I have Globe, Edition Law, Magic Touch. Okay, I'm going to choose Creative Crew. Okay, and inside Creative Crew, now I can see the actual tables. And I have only one table. And if you look at the content, very simple, right? Can you see? Okay, looks exactly like a spreadsheet. I think everyone can understand, right? The first column is the name of the person, the second column is the country, and the third column, PS actually stands for Photoshop, AI stands for Illustrator, ID stands for InDesign, AE After Effects and Premiere, and PR is Premiere Pro. Okay, so what I have here is something like an Excel table that says this person is from Singapore and he knows how to use Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. Or this person is from Stefano, is from Italy and he knows how to use everything that has the word Adobe in front of it. Correct? That's Stefano.
Set up.
Okay, so very simple. Now, next, what is SQL? Okay, that is the actual definition of SQL from Wikipedia, which is very cheap, right? Okay, basically it's very simple. SQL just means the language that you use to talk to the database. That means if you want the database, they give me all the information about Toback, you have to write it in SQL and give it to the database server, and the database server basically give you back all the information about the Toback. So, what is an example of an SQL statement like this? Select star from members where name equals Mary. Okay, so who can guess what this does? Anybody?
Select all the rows from table, member table, whose name is Mary.
Okay, yes, correct. I think you know how SQL works. Okay, I need to get my element out. Give me a minute. Okay, so now this shows all the data that's inside the database table at the moment. Okay, I'm going to run a query into it. Okay, paste, and this query says select star from members where name is Leon, right? No. Okay, so I run and it comes back with one result here. Okay, so obviously there's only one result because there's only one person with my name inside, right? Okay, so but let's say if I were to look for something like select star from members where country equals USA. Right. Okay. You see that there's two results, right? Because there's two people from the US, Jim and Jane. So when I run this query, it shows that Jim and Jane. So this allows you to pull out just the necessary information that you need from the database when you want it. Okay, so how does this actually all come together? Okay, go back to the browser. I have a very simple site that I wrote. You can see here there are the 5 names. Okay, right. You can see the 5 names that is from the database, and if I click on my name, it will load that all the information about me. From Stefano, you see that everything he can do that has the A in front. Click on Mary, click on Jane, click on Jane. So what happens is that you see that the page here, index.php, does not change. Okay, if I will just show you now very quickly actually what is written inside this PHP file. Okay. You see what happens here is that there is an SQL statement here that says select name from members where one. Okay, so what this statement does is that it actually gets all the names from the database and it just populates and it gives you all these links here. And then when I click on the actual name, it will actually take out select staff or member where the name is the name that I click. So now if I were to add things into the database, like let's say if we add another person, like can we add, okay, for example, so I add in one more row, like another new name, Jack, and you see that I do not change anything here, I just refresh my page, I will get Jack here. So what happens in a website is that things just keep getting added into the database, but your actual web server is not doing anything different. Your web code, the actual page is not being rewritten.